Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No reportable action from closed session. Direction was given to staff.
All right. Councilman Weber, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I'd be honored to. Thank you. Salute. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
Thank you, sir. Next item is adoption of agenda for council.
So moved.
Call the roll, please.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Do we have any presentations tonight? Seeing none. All right. Public communication, do we have any cards?
Yes, we do, Mr. Mayor. We'll begin with the cameraman and follow that with Bill Spear.
Thank you. How's the cameraman tonight?
How about yourself?
Good,
Hopefully.
welcome.
Good. I don't have too much tonight, but primarily going to be speaking about shopping carts. I saw Action News Now report about, with Mr. Councilmember Weber, about shopping carts. Now, I ain't going to ignore the fact that this is, mainly going to affect the homeless population and the abilities to transport their stuff. And, granted, I can see carrying some stuff, but a lot of these guys just haul trash around, which is, part of the mental illness, part of why more mental health services need to be available. But there is business and professions codes that, hey, if you're in possession of a shopping cart, not in the shopping area with the intent to deprive that person of the shopping cart, that is an unlawful act, and it can be prosecuted. Now, I suggest, I know we're looking in the works to getting a team developed, but hey, if we're going to take these shopping carts, and able to determine who owns them, we should be charging them a return fee. This shouldn't be some free service, and hopefully that'll also motivate them to, make efforts so that their carts don't get stolen. Because these, carts aren't like $10 items. These, can range up to $300, $500 for a shopping cart. I know, ridiculous, right? But anyways, these aren't cheap little items. So we can, hold on to that, sort of kind of as a ransom, to incentivate, what's the word I'm looking for? Insinuate these people, hey, pick up your shopping carts or we'll do it and we'll charge you. But to also, besides the fact that, hey, these people are taking them, it's more so the fact that, hey, return your cart to the cart corral. I don't say that homeless people don't go over to the cart corral or take carts from inside the store, but if I was a homeless person, I would get the cart that's all the way at the very corner of the parking lot compared to just walking up to the cart return and pulling them right out from the rack. Because, that's pretty blatantly obvious to walk off with a shopping cart. I would hope somebody would say, hey, put that cart back. But ultimately, if we return our shopping carts to the cart corral and they get returned to the store, they have a lesser chance of blowing into somebody's car and dinging it, or a homeless person taking it and then creating blight across our city, which, we don't want, trash, bottom line. Nobody likes trash, but there's ways we can help curb this issue as well incentivize the business owners to, take a little more incentive in securing their own carts. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Up next, we have Bill Spear.
Welcome, Mr. Spear.
Verse in a prayer. It's out of YouTube. I didn't select the verse. It was the one that came. And it said, he said unto them, this is Matthew 21:13, my house shall be called a house of prayer, but you are making it a den of robbers. I looked over the agenda and thought, well, at least I'm here to pray. Father, we thank you for our city, and Lord, that you have called us to be a house of prayer, and here we are praying. And we just pray, Lord, for our city. We pray for your wisdom and your provision. We pray for our city council, for our police and the fire and all of those that serve. For your word does say the greatest of all shall be the servant of all. And we thank you for the things that are coming up, the Feather Fiesta Days and all the opportunities that you give us to serve, the fly-in. And but Lord, we pray for wisdom for our city council as we have challenges. As someone was talking about the homeless, you give us opportunities to put your wisdom into action, to bring provision and healing and wholeness, and Lord, to raise our city up to be that city on a hill, to be a light on a shelf, to be an example. Lord, we thank you for your word. We thank you for the Church of Orville. As we see unity and them working together. We thank you for this beautiful day, for this spring weather. We thank you for life and salvation. We thank you for your grace and your mercy. We have so much to be grateful and thankful for. And so we do this evening. We start out just by saying thank you for all that you've done. Continue to move, continue to pour out your spirit, continue to activate your church, continue to use us to intercede for the lost, for the jail, the prisoners, for the homeless, for those that are seeking you. We pray that you would bless this night, that you would open up the floodgates of heaven and let it flow through our city. We love and praise you in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you.
Any other cards come in?
No other submitted public comment.
All right, thank you all. Let's move to council announcements and reports. Council announcements. Anyone up for a comment? Well, I'll quickly offer one that the Lyman College had a whole new class come in on Monday, 200 new students, and we had a little welcoming and orientation. This class notably will be the first class that their graduates will be required to have a commercial driving license in place. So
Interesting.
that's going to be interesting, and surprisingly, a lot of them actually have their license before. Already, so it's just a rank up in the quality of the students being performed there. So they also have a community day coming forward. Do you remember when that is?
So that's on the 17th?
Oh, the 17th,
Yeah, and
thank
so,
you.
yeah, and any businesses that might be interested in presenting,
Yeah,
you could reach out to the Lyman College.
yeah, I'm sure
Yeah,
it'd be
so-
nice to be able to connect to those students out
It'll
there.
be at 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock on the
3 o'clock
17th.
this Thursday.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that information. Councilman Reynolds is on the queue.
Thank you. I received 4 or 5 phone calls. I'm sure we all received phone calls about the striping going on Oro Dam with the road in such poor condition. Citizens were calling wanting to know, are the roads not going to be fixed? I met with Mr. Ring and to ask him if something had changed, and he had assured me that the plan from 8 years ago is still in place. So this has been in place for a very long time. This is not part of the Caltrans project, so it's set for within, did you say couple of years? But we had to put the striping down for safety?
Yeah, ultimately, the ATP grant that we applied for back in 2015 or 2016 included some striping for safety. The sidewalk project is a safety project, and this was lined up way back when, and obviously the road probably was in better condition then, but it was included in the grant, so that's why the striping was done. And I know we've been out there, I've talked to our engineering team about it, and ultimately the road, it's on the list. Certainly, I don't know the exact grade of where it's at right now, so how it ranks on the list of repairs, but it's going to be at least a couple of years where the striping still is a very effective way to help with some public safety issues with those that are traveling on foot or on bike in that area.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted you to explain.
You bet.
it
And
because-
the other thing, if I may, there was a concern about striping and then with Caltrans going over and repairing it. So I just want to make sure this is the Oro Dam Boulevard
Right.
East. So this is actually the city portion of Oro Dam Boulevard. So this is not included in the project that Caltrans will be doing next summer. So the striping will be there for at least 2 to 3 years if we're fortunate to be able to do some more in-depth maintenance repairs on that road in 2 or 3 years.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You bet.
Councilman Weber's in the queue.
Yeah, thank you very much. Last Monday, the mayor, myself, Brian Ring, and Alyssa Stutz went down and had a meeting with Caltrans at District 3 headquarters in Marysville. When we found out about the delay of this project, that we were all under the impression that it was going to happen this year. But we found out that it would not happen this year, in fact. So I called up Assemblyman Gallagher's office, and he was very accommodating of getting us a meeting with Caltrans. And then the mayor and I spoke, and then Brian spoke. We all spoke, and we all went down there, and we had a very productive meeting. And the objective of the meeting was to try to secure any road repairs in the meantime for some of the really affected areas along Oro Dam, the corridor there. So I know Alyssa's not here right now, but I know you guys have been working on. So where we at? Basically, what was the outcome of the meeting?
Yeah, so we promised that we'd give Caltrans some images of some certain sections of Highway 162 that are in significant disrepair. I sent them 4 sites this morning, right off the off-ramp of Highway 70 there. That whole corridor is in bad shape. There's a section by Veach, which is by the dealership, that's in bad shape. There's a section by Huntington, which is in bad shape, and there's a 4th one. Forgive me, but those were sent this morning, and he confirmed receipt and said he sent it to his team, and they're going to be looking into it. So
Okay.
I'll report back as we get more definitive timelines on when hopefully they will come out. They were very receptive. They were, again, I think receptive is the best word about trying to make sure these roads are safe and they can make it through another wet season.
Yeah. Mr. Mayor, did you have anything to add on that?
No, you did a great job. That's exactly what happened. Changing topics, I was going to ask Mr. Ring to report on our meeting with the Public Utilities Commission. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, so we had a meeting last Friday with the California Public Utility Commission, the CPUC, and with representatives from Cal Water, and this has to do with the discontinuation of fluoride in the water they provide to residents. And the mayor and I, we actually had a call with them probably a month ago, maybe 5 weeks ago, and we kind of heard the same thing then, that they are going through their process, and they have a process that they need to follow, but it includes some sort of a formal public hearing where they receive either public comments or testimony. We're still trying to figure out what exactly they are looking for, but they need to go through that process before they render their decision. Now, the Division of Drinking Water is another governmental agency that oversees water. They've already approved this, but Cal Water can't proceed until they get permission from the CPUC.
Right.
So we're going to pass along some information to the CPUC, at least the actions that the council has taken here. There was at least 2, possibly 3 hearings here that didn't have to be public hearings, but we actually put them out there as public hearings where information was received. And I'll go ahead and pass that along to see if they can somehow expedite their proceedings.
And the hearing that they were suggesting here in Orville is yet to be determined, date and time, so it's a continuation of a process that just is very frankly irritating. I'll just be quiet with that. Thank you, sir. Any other administration comments or reports? Seeing none, I would entertain the department heads.
You know, the only other thing I was going to add is just some comments here from Alyssa. Alyssa is on an extremely well-deserved vacation, but she did give me some information she wanted me to pass along. One of them happened to do with the lot home painting has begun, so that work that was budgeted is in progress, which is great news. The Table Mountain Washington corridor project, that's the project, the big project we're really trying to seek significant funding for. That's the $25 million plus project. We did receive $2.5 million in funding from BCAG to do the engineering, at least the pre-engineering, and some of the environmental work on that. And that went out for RFP, and interviews are going to be, I'm looking at Tim, next week on that. So we're hoping to bring that contract to the council on May 6th. that money, we need to get that moving, and it is moving. And then just one other final quick update. The curator that has been retained is going to start May 12th. So we'll have a new curator starting May 12th.
Good. All right.
And I was going to touch on the 162 and fluoride, so we already did that. So we're good.
I would add too that our, Mr. Belser's not here tonight, but he has an email message to us all about the activities with code enforcement and the tire recycling reception day, which
That was a hit.
maybe was a big hit. They hauled a lot of tires off on Saturday, so it's a good thing to be done. Something else I was gonna comment. Oh, we had a meeting with Cal Water today, and we found out a couple things that's kind of interesting. Cal Water's gonna have to move some fire hydrants because they block part of the sidewalk under ADA. And it's just an additional expense they're gonna have to weigh, but it's on Ordam Boulevard at Veach and another one by the subway. So the hydrants were placed there a long time ago, and now they have to be moved because they potentially block part of the sidewalk. So it's just another cost that has to be borne by folks in the process. Anybody else, department heads? Patrick's grabbing the mic, go ahead.
I just wanted to remind everybody that the cleanup day in Southside is on the 26th. We're not advertising the event, as I've mentioned before, but we are collecting volunteers. So anyone who themselves or a group that they belong to would like to volunteer, please contact me or the African American Community Center. And look forward to having everyone out there. We're expecting a great event.
Cool. I think the chief's got things in the agenda anyway coming up, so I'll let him take a break.
You'll hear from me enough today.
Yeah.
Just a quick update. Monday started our first lateral investigator, came
Oh.
on board. And so Mary Barker is a very welcome asset to the department. And just got word that within maybe 2 to 3 weeks, our lieutenant should be on board.
Oh,
Nice.
So that's a
excellent.
great thing. And in addition, we were able to rearrange some personnel. The community strike team is now officially formed. Sergeant Ali Khan was selected to become the sergeant of that.
Very cool.
And then Officer Cody Cadornes was selected as the first team member to that. And so they hit the ground running, did 2 site cleanups today, and made an arrest for a copper theft.
Oh.
That
No
happened,
way.
that was basically on Ransom Raves.
Whoa.
They caught it right away, and within a couple hours, we had somebody in custody. Nice. So it was a great day to launch.
With the amount of copper that's been sold in this town, it's nice to hear.
That's our second arrest so far of these, and we've got a couple more in line.
Thank you. Good news. All right, folks. Next item we have on the consent calendar. Any councilman have any items they'd like to have addressed in the consent calendar or entertain a motion?
Mr. Mayor?
I'd like to
Yes,
pull
sir.
item number 1, please.
Okay,
Okay. Can I make a comment on number 1 as well?
sure.
For some reason, the system pulled the agenda item from the previous one. So if I can make an edit to this,
Okay.
ultimately, this was the money, the council already approved this to go to Pee Wee Curiel, but the newage staff report, instead of going to Pee Wee Curiel, they wanted it to go to the Orville Foundation of Flight. That was a nonprofit that they wanted. So if that's okay, I believe that's a permissible edit we can make right now for that item.
That's all I wanted to
Okay.
say, because that is the
Yes.
501c3.
Yes.
Right.
And I don't know what, it's right here, I don't know what happened, but.
Okay.
It's just clarification.
Yeah.
So with clarification in that place, any other consent items for council consideration?
Nope.
I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second to move the consent agenda with the type corrections made for item number 1. Call the roll, please.
Motion passes unanimously.
Regular business, item number 5, purchase of 2 public art sculptures recommended by the Orville Arts Commission.
Kayla, we didn't talk about this before, but could you put the images up there? They're in the applications. Mayor and council members, this is a recommendation from the Arts Commission to purchase 2 sculptures. I'll go over them high level, and we can come back to the images when Kayla gets them up. So the first one is, it's called Touch the Sky. This one has already been built, and it is on loan to the city of Vacaville. It's for sale right now. The commission is recommending the purchase of this piece for $25,000. And it is, there it is up on the screen. That is for sale. It's on loan until the end of June. In July, it goes off to, he thinks that he has someone in Dubai that wants to take it for also rent or for loan. So the Art Commission felt some urgency to try to purchase this now and before that window closed. We don't have a location set yet. We have to still get agreements with these locations, but and this all just happened, was it last week, Tracy? Yes, just last week. So the first location that they would like this to go is the Southside Community Center. The second would be near the Feather River Hatchery. And if the DWR isn't okay with that, then their third location would be the Centennial Garden. The second item is the red-tailed hawk, and this one would be a commissioned sculpture. This one has not been built yet, so the artist, Martin Taylor, would be building this. The cost is $40,000, and this was something that a couple of the commissioners had wanted to do, was to honor something that's local. So the red-tailed hawk is a local species. This one costs $40,000. The proposed locations for this, the primary location would be at the Butte County Office of Education, and the second would be at the Centennial Garden. And so the total between the two pieces would be $65,000. And I think Commissioner Tamori is here, who may like to speak on this item. Or did you want to, or did you put a card in for this, or? Sorry, I thought that you had wanted to speak on the item. Sorry, I didn't mean to call you out. I thought you actually wanted to.
Welcome, Dave.
Thank you for having me. So I'm the chair of the Arts Commission, as you know, and the background on the first, we actually started this discussion on the red-tailed hawk as a possible sculpture where you would stand in front, so you'd cover up the head, and then you'd have wings. And then we're looking for places where you'd see the background of Orville behind it. And that was kind of the initial idea. So that picture that you see would have steps that would adjust to a person, like me. I'd go up the top step, and if somebody is a little taller, would go down the lower step, and it looked like you'd have wings. So it's attempt to, honor a local species, but also have a kind of like an attraction that people might be interested in. Another location would be at the end of the Green Bridge, between that entrance to the fish hatchery and then the nature wall, so that build a platform, and then you'd stand in front of it, you'd see the river and the city. So it's just a lot of a discussion about where it might go, but it's to enhance just the spirit of the city and nature, and just celebrate what we have. I talked to Pastor Thomas about Southside Community Center. It lights up, and we were thinking of maybe that being a good location. Maybe you could see it from below if we found a good spot. The reason Southside was attracted to me is that it's just something that might add to it. By the way, it lights up too, so. I thought it was a good bargain because, these sculptures are very expensive. So, any questions for me?
Councilman Johnstone is actually in the queue, so.
Thank you. So this isn't really for you, Commissioner Tamori. This is more for, I received an email complaint about purchasing sculptures and art in relation to the way our streets and our roads are currently. And I just wanted to publicly say that we don't have money to just spend willy-nilly. Our roads, our funding is specifically for roads. Funding is specifically for artwork, so we can't take money that is associated with the arts and use it for road work, it has to be specifically used for those. And so if anybody out in the internet is listening, we cannot take funding from this particular
Correct.
and apply it to roads. So although it may be irritating, that's just the way it is, unfortunately. So that's all I wanted to clarify.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Councilman Reynolds has a question.
Yeah, I have a couple questions. Hello, Mr. Tamori. My first question is for the first statue. What is that? What does that represent? Is that a individual from history or what is it?
Well, I think that's an inspiration from the artist himself. The artist, he studied origami, and so I think he followed his own voice on that. The idea is touch the sky. I think it was built for Burning Man originally. So that's the what would you call it? The happening in the desert, and so that I think was why it was originally built. But it's to inspire. You just inspire us to reach for the sky is what I get out of it, and that's kind of pretty literal. Another location we thought would be at the roundabout, beyond the nature wall. So, you're going up the hill and touch the sky. You could, if it's really angelic or, it's inspired by just winged creatures. Best I could do. You could.
Okay, all right, well, thank you. And then the red-tailed hawk, which is an indigenous species here, I can understand that one. How big is that going to be?
Yeah, so if you
Or
see
what-
the illustration there, it's about, it's going to be smaller than the one that you saw, the first one, the Touch the Sky. And I think it's like maybe 10 feet or less, but the scale has to fit, a person that could stand in front of it or kids could stand in front of it.
And what is the material that's being used?
So I understand it's all kind of like put together, welded with metal. So it's pretty sturdy.
Is it like that eagle?
Well, that eagle is something else. That's all stainless steel, I think.
Yeah.
Now that was a bargain. The eagle was a
At
true
the time, we thought it was exorbitant.
Well, but it was a really a gift to the city as far as,
Yes. From a local artist.
From a local artist.
So I'm wondering, is this artist from here?
No, he's not. No, he's
Okay. Do you know if Steve Nielsen is still in the area?
Yeah, Steve's still here.
Okay, because he made all our fish and
Right.
everything that he grew up here. He's familiar with the area.
Correct.
So I was just curious about what the first one represented because I didn't see any identifying marks where it could be related to something from here.
Yeah, I would say it's more fantasy.
Oh, okay.
Fair
I
enough.
just-
Well, that's all I have. Thank you.
Councilman Goodson's up in the queue.
Yes, so can we go back to the first one, please? And that's called Touch the Sky?
Correct.
And it's my understanding that the preferred location primarily is South Side. I'm just curious what the discussion was and how would you derive? What? Gosh. What was that discussion?
Well, the discussion was, I thought it would be, I think the consensus was it would be inspiring to add a work of art at Southside because it's a location, I think, that really inspires kids and people that go there to, become their best they could be. So it seemed to be appropriate. The events that are held there are very uplifting, and I thought that would enhance that idea. So I'm I know you're,
My thought process on it.
Okay.
If you know the origin and the history, the cultural history behind how the South Side Center came about, you might want to get some input from the South Side community.
okay.
That's my thought process.
Okay. Vice Mayor Smith is in the queue.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Of course, art and its appreciation is in the eye of the beholder. And I think that's, a beautiful piece. My thought, however, is just because something's a great deal, I got lots of art pieces that find their way
in your
back
garage?
someplace. Yes, in my garage. But it seemed like a great idea at the time, and it was something novel and unique. And I think the inspiration should come from that spot needs something that's going to make a statement about our community, about Oroville, and then developing a piece around that conceptually. Like the red-tailed hawk, I think is amazing, and I think finding an ideal location that expresses something that speaks to Oroville. So I'm a little bit hesitant about I get it's a deal and it's unique and all of that, but sometimes trying to make something fit just because it's
A deal.
potentially a good opportunity. In the moment, it might seem like it's a good idea, but I've made a lot of mistakes over time by doing that. Just personal, talking about myself here. But I like the idea, the red tile. You find a spot, like on top of the Green Bridge, or something that accentuates, something that makes a statement. I really like what Chico's doing with that arch, the walkway thing. It's really cool. It's artistic, and it creates a vibe. I like it. And so I don't want to rain on your parade or something, like squashing something and excitement about something. But I mean, that's just me. And like I said, art, it's one of those things. Everyone has an opinion. If you ask 10 people, you get 10 different ones, right? But no, I think the hawk idea is awesome. I'm just questioning that particular project. And given we're struggling even with where do we put it.
Right.
I know we struggle sometimes with where do we put that amazing piece. He's kind of flown around the room a bit. So, that's my opinion at this moment. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I guess I'm not trying to sell you on it. It's a part of the community, our, Arts Commission attempt to, bring some more beauty to the city, not to detract or to cause any other kind of controversy, so.
Like the rainforest, that's amazing. I mean, I can't wait to see every one of those panels filled in. I mean, that's just gorgeous and it really speaks to Oroville. I love that. Anyway, said enough.
I've been next to
You guys do a great job.
Yeah, I'm kind of a statement and a question too. I think the red-tailed hawk is an excellent idea. I think this is what accentuates the whole idea of art in the community. And the fact that it's relating back to a native species to the area is a huge factor to not just enjoy the benefits of art, but to help educate the public and the kids in that process. The first one, it's kind of it's a stretch, and I want to say first off to the Art Commission, we appreciate all your contributions and your time to it. The reaching for the sky, I'm lost in the message. I would, if we do go down the path of acquisition, I would be more inclined to rent it for a period of time to see if the public, accepts it so that the rental can be changed. Because I don't know if it's too far for us. I mean, I'm not the fantastic artist in the world, but at the same time, I'm having a hard time to fit it somewhere. So that's just being, my personal opinion. Maybe after some members of the community get to see this picture, and they'll probably provide us some opinions about it. The red-tailed hawk, I think that's a great idea. I got no problem supporting that whatsoever. But the first one is just a little bit of a stretch, and it might be fantastic. I don't know. But I keep looking at it, and I'm trying to figure out where we go and what we're doing with it. And I understand it's the artist's vision, and it may very well be very popular. It's just I'm having a tough time. I wouldn't put it in my backyard.
Spit it out.
Yeah, Councilman Thompson.
I just want to say thank you for all you do for the city with art and whatnot. You know,
Certainly.
art is, I love art, and I think it's beautiful. I don't want to repeat the sentiments of the other council people, but I do. We'll be looking, I want to see pieces for the community that really, you look at it and it really does identify Oroville. So those are things that kind of I want to resonate when it shows in a public space. But again, just the work that you guys do in the Arts Commission, you know, sometimes it's thankless, but even what was done on the wall there, the Heat Mountain, all those pieces, like every time I see those and see pieces added, I just get so much, you know, pride with it's hard work, every little, you know, tile piece that you guys are putting on those. So it's just, thank you for all you do is primarily what I was
Thank you. Yeah, and I appreciate your comments, and we're just well-intentioned, and a little bit of controversy is always good because
Absolutely.
it brings a little more focus on,
Yeah.
you know, our efforts, so, okay.
Well, Councilman Weber, you were in the queue.
Yeah, I just had a suggestion. I echo the sentiment for everybody up here. We appreciate you, Dave, and what you do in the community, and your steadfast dedication to the arts, and certainly there's so much added benefit with you being here. But I am absolutely a no on the first one. I don't see it, and I think the location is just inappropriate for the suggested, and that's with all due respect. However, on the second one, I kind of picked up on what Chuck was laying down there a little bit. Pardon me, I should say Councilmember Reynolds, I'm sorry. But I like the idea of perhaps maybe floating many artist renderings of what this could look like. And maybe we could find a local artist that might give us and then we could kind of maybe talk about it, you know, and discuss what that, because I think this native species sculpture would be an amazing addition to our community. But maybe we could get some different renderings of it and then see where we could go with it. So,
Yeah, okay.
Noted.
Councilman Reynolds is in the queue.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. And Mr. Tamar, you were my teacher, and when I was a freshman, I remember you well. You are an honorable man, sir. But a black and white sketch, and we are asked to spend $25,000.
That was more.
There's
That
what?
was 40.
40. That one's 40?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. At 25, I wanted to see more renderings and what it would look like, and maybe put it up, give opportunity to local artists as well. I don't know how we're set on this one artist, but to me, that's not a sufficient presentation for that amount of money.
Noted.
If I may.
Yes, sir. Just my 2 cents. I'm not an
No, I
artist.
appreciate everything. That's good.
Yes, sir.
If I may, and we can absolutely put out another RFP, but this was done through an RFP process, and he was the only person that responded. Well, we had two. The other one I brought to you a couple meetings ago was for the murals on the side of Aaron's building over on Hontoon. So,
Can I ask, what was the verbiage of the RFP?
it was an open verbiage for public art.
For open designs?
Up to
Okay.
$40,000, and then there was a bent from the Art Commission to look for something. The commission had some discussions during their meetings about doing something with wings, and there was talk about angels or that kind of thing. And then at some point, it was settled on for the red-tailed hawk because it's an indigenous species. So I think that there was maybe some recruitment with the
One of our
members of the-
commissioners
members
was
of the
quite
commission
impressed
that-
with the work, and
Right,
yeah.
and they just went straight to him, and so, but we published it in the way that we always have, and so, but we can absolutely publish it again, and then look, and then make sure we get it right in the hands of our local artists.
Sounds like really good. I think we appreciate you, and obviously everyone here does, and the commission members, and our representative, Councilman Johnstone, that steers that commission for us. We appreciate that. I'm going to throw out my own personal idea too, that I would love to see maybe one day our eagle posted in the center of the roundabout on a very tall, vandal-proof platform. It would be nice for every member of our community to see that eagle. And I'm just throwing that idea out there and see what the commission can think about it.
Yeah, I'll bring it up to our next.
Appreciate that, because I think there's a location that we could call it the Eagle Roundabout. You
Yeah, I
know?
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's where we thought, oh, this other one could be up at the top, and the
yeah.
eagle down here, and avant-garde, sort of a phoenix at the top.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, we do have one additional public commenter on this item.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
That's the cameraman.
Oh.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Tamor. Appreciate your time and effort.
We
Thank you, sir.
appreciate you.
Good evening again, Oroville City Council. I'll be brief. For the first, the touching the sky there, I think it's a nice piece of artwork, but I don't think necessarily it's Oroville's nice piece of artwork. The hawk, that is an excellent idea. I think it is, representative of Oroville. I think we should maybe look at maybe getting a local artist to do that, local art made by local people, maybe someone from the indigenous peoples community. I'm not an expert on that community, but I know, red-tail hawks, and I've heard that tossed around before. So that's, I see that. I'm thinking the indigenous community, the people of Oroville, those that have been here before us. The only thing I just really ain't enthusiastic about is the amount of money. I know this is allocated funds, but it's like, maybe we could look into something getting like some smaller pieces instead of just, all this money for one piece or two piece, maybe little pieces spread out, art necessarily doesn't have to be a giant statue. Maybe we could look into getting some small things to place in our parks, like just a little tiny statue in bedrock, or, just anything, really, just, not necessarily big, but, stretch the value for our, funds, get, just not one area, but really everywhere. Because art just isn't necessarily in one place. It could be anywhere. It could be on my clothes. It could be on the ceiling. It could be in the way we perform at the theater. So it's not just necessarily a statue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so item 5 basically is tabled to bring back?
Yes.
Okay. Item number 6, selection of the 2025. Yes, sir.
Can we have that one public hearing, if we can jump to that?
Oh, okay. I didn't see it was timed, but we can jump to the public hearing as it is. Is that 5:25? Okay. We'll open a public hearing for item number 14, which is the first reading of an ordinance to adopt the updated State of California Local Responsibility Area Fire Hazard Severity Zone Map.
There's a mouthful.
Patrick, all right. It is.
So you have seen this before. Chief Tens came and gave a presentation about this last meeting and the meeting before that. And so this is a required ordinance for us to adopt. And it adopts the State Fire Marshal's Fire Hazard Severity Zone map. So you can see with the map that that's up on the screen there, the different colors, they outline different levels of severity. So we have one little area there right up at the top, kind of in the wing of the Pegasus there, there you go, that actually doesn't have any streets in there. So this does not affect anyone currently living in Oroville. But then you see just right outside of that, you have the high area. So that the red zone is extremely high or very high, and then the orange zone is moderately high, and then the yellow zone is high. And then the rest of the city is not in a wildfire severity zone. So all of this means that if someone was to do a development in one of these areas, that the building department and the planning department, and to some degree the engineering department, would have to review the plans through the lens of fire safety, some additional fire safety measures for those dwellings, or commercial properties, whatever. It's pretty much all residential up there. And so this is the first reading for this item. It'll come back on May 6th for the second reading. And I'm open for any questions.
And if I may just add a couple things, there's part of the requirements are here, depending on what zone you're in, there are some like hardening or some defensible space that's actually required. It's in the code. And then also there's a stipulation if you sell a property that's in a extremely high, you have to disclose that to the person who is buying that. But again, it's required by the state, and we're bringing it forward.
And thank you, Brian. And there are some additional things that we have to do as part of the adopting the map, and those will be brought with Chief Tens when he does his weed abatement ordinance.
Quick question I have, and you mentioned the inspections required on transfer of property and sale. Does that report, would that come back to the city, or is that handled in the trust deed in the sale of the property? Those inspection requirements?
It's going to go to both, so it'll come to the city, we'll have it on record, and then it'll go to the purchaser, or it's
Right.
as part of a disclosure process.
Gotcha. And I know that's the new laws of January 1st this year, so it becomes part of the escrow process.
That's right.
Yeah, all right. Vice Mayor Smith.
Yeah, just a quick question. I noticed that a big chunk of the peninsula south of Oroville, it's all yellow. I'm not a professional by any stretch. I would assume that's because it's all grassland. It's not wooded so much out there. So the question then, again, chain of thought would be, if it's developed, then it's no longer grassland. That would probably change the complexity. And so what's that process look like for having that reassessed? Do you know what?
I do not know.
There's
that answer. I'm
opportunity,
sorry.
because if we had a developer say, hey, we're going to develop 300 acres out there, I would think that would change those dynamics.
They don't update this map except for every, I think it's 10 years.
Okay.
And
So it just lives as it is, and you just have to
when they
grapple with that.
That's right. When they re-examine it, then they look at everything, and then they update the map.
All right, thank you.
We could have Chief Tenzo return on May 6th with some clarity on that, if there's a way to update it. But I believe it is kind of like the census. It's done every certain period of time. But we can look into that before the next.
Yeah, because that could pose some challenges for development out in that area. That was obviously annexed for industrial and I think other opportunities, housing. But it's just all grass out there. And as we know, wind swept grassland can burn real quick, but it's not necessarily, again, I'm not a fire expert, but it would seem to me there's lower risk with that at the end of the day versus wooded wildland. So anyway,
Yeah.
enough said.
Makes sense.
Councilman Goodson has a question.
Hopefully, I know the answer to this already, but it is my hope that the council will approve this. And let's say hypothetically, if we did not, how would that affect our eligibility for fire prevention funding?
I don't have an answer for that. Well, she's asking, if we don't adopt this, does it affect our ability to get funding for fire prevention?
I believe if we don't adopt it, it will have an adverse impact on our ability
So it's like really moot.
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
Yeah, there was a process that they went through to establish the maps, and it's based upon a number of factors: fuel, fire history. But yeah.
You looking for a
Frankly,
motion?
we're in. I think, in talking with Chief Tens, I think we're in much. I thought it was going to look worse, candidly, but obviously there's a little bit of yellow in there and a little bit of orange, tiny little bit of red. But for example, if you look at Chico or the town of Paradise, it's significantly different. I mean,
Right,
Paradise is one color, it's red.
Just red.
Wow, that's
So
something.
it's
I have the last comment to add, and it's really not a question, but the map had more involved in the Oroville, so I think it was reduced because of fire history, which actually in the city limits, we have a very small fire history.
Yeah.
The other thing that I'll mention, and it was at the meeting that Councilman Weber chairs, the discussion with our state assemblyman, the question was asked about fire insurance, and the room lit up because even though these maps are what they are, almost everyone in the room had a story on fire insurance issues, and we are being hounded or compounded or hammered about fire insurance from non-renewals to increasing rates to so on and so forth. And it would be nice if we adopted this and we could say, yeah, our insurance is going to be better. That would be a nice statement to make, but, Assemblyman Gallagher received all the information and hopefully can help us with the Department of Insurance future rulings coming forward that seem to indicate there's going to be some help to the insurance companies. But, I would say we have to keep our fingers crossed. I'm not sure that's going to happen, but it was amazing to me how many people got up and spoke about that. And I want to thank the group for having that forum for the assemblyman last night. It was very, we heard problems we never even knew about, and it just lit up. But I agree with Councilman Goodson. If we don't adopt, then we don't become part of we go off the list for fire prevention funding, and there seems to be some emphasis on that. So whether we adopt it or not, I don't know that it really is any changes to our public in terms of the concerns. I'm happy that it's what it is. And I feel for Paradise immensely because their entire community is all red. And that's a tough nut, so. Any other questions or comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we adopt the updated fire hazard severity zone map as provided by CAL FIRE.
So,
The actions are
Conduct a first reading. All right,
and then authorize it to be brought back for the second reading.
right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, second.
Yeah. Okay.
Motion
Thank you.
passes unanimously.
All right. We now close the public hearing and get back to our normal agenda, which is item number 6, Samuel Norris Award for Excellence recipient. Who has that?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council members. This is the annual selection of this year of the 2025, the Sam Norris Award that's presented typically at the State of the City. All of you have been placed a sticky note on your dais. Along with the agenda packet, there were several submitted applications for consideration. You are to write your selected individual on that Post-it note. Once that is done, pass it down this way, please. And then at the State of the City, I will have something ready for presentation.
Okay. I gotta get all the names here. Oh, dang it.
And that's my report.
Hold on here. Gotta get my agenda back up. Excuse me. Have an agenda side here. All those are ready to vote? Vote.
So sorry.
Oh, there you go. We'll let you collect them. And the announcement will be made at the meeting?
Yes.
Okay. All we need to hear is that we elected someone, right?
Yes. So the purpose of this is for you to select who you would like to have that award presented to at the State of the City. And then I will just, a reminder for the public and those here in attendance that the State of the City will be happening April 29th at 5:30 PM at the Orville State Theater.
Thank you. Any questions to move forward to item number 7? Which is the approval of Assistant Civil Engineer allocation.
Yeah, I'll take this, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
I think as everyone probably saw at the meeting we had last Tuesday, which kind of the Goals and Priorities Workshop, that Public Works has a tremendous amount of work going on right now. And we were going to request the addition of an assistant city engineer in the budget for 25-26. Given that it is already April, it takes a long time to find an engineer. We'd like to get that allocation going and that recruitment going as quickly as possible. There is a little bit of savings in the budget, but depending on when if we were able to attract somebody this fiscal year, we might have to come back for a budget adjustment. But at this point in time, we'd just like to get the allocation approved, get the recruitment out there, and try to fill that position as quickly as possible. And then we'll come back if we need additional resources.
All right. Any council questions on this item? Do we have any comment cards?
We do not, Mr. Mayor.
I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Call the roll, please.
This is unanimously.
Number 8, the award of contract to United Building Contractors Incorporated, design build entity for the Corporation Yard project, multiple building remodel and site work design build project at 655 Cal Oak.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, that is me.
Hey, there he is. Tim's away.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. This is the long-awaited contract for renovating and updating the new Corp Yard at 655 Cal Oak. Formerly, it was a home builder site. We purchased it last year, I think February of last year or so. And we put some money into it, but this is the first time we're going to put some design on paper. Previously, what you had seen was some thoughts about what we would use specific spaces for. So what we have gone out for with an RFP and have responses for is a 2-phase project. First phase is getting it between 20 and 30% design. That will entail interviews with staff, site visits, kind of optimizing the space with the money that we have, and bringing that back to council then with a guaranteed maximum price. So once the contractor designs it and says, this is what's gonna cost to get you what you need, I'm not gonna gold plate anything. I'm gonna get the folks what we need to do their jobs and to support the citizens of Oroville. Then we will get a guaranteed maximum price, and that is the price. If the contractor made a mistake and it costs more, that's the price.
That's the price, okay.
So we've selected after proposals where we did not take cost into account because everybody was given a $30,000 budget. So it's the entity with the best technical acumen and who we thought could do it the best. And we picked United Building Contractors after a proposal submittal and interview process. Also, what I'm asking for is February of 2024, we asked for and were approved cost allocations against several different line items. I'm asking those to be removed so that we can put the money where it needs to be through the interview and the site visit process.
Sure. Well, those were only estimates too, if I remember right.
Those were estimates.
That was like a wish list that we came up with at the time. It was completely hypothetical to essentially get a budget to work within. So some of those things I'm sure will remain on the list, and some of them will come off. But ultimately, those will all come back before you folks with the design.
Guaranteed maximum price.
Yep. So it'll come back to you. So the total amount budgeted is not being requested to change. It's just how that money is allocated out.
Okay.
Councilman Reynolds is in the queue.
Thank you. I wasn't here when this was purchased, so I'm trying to catch up, but I do remember the term being used quite a bit during the purchase, move-in ready. And now we're remodeling. What happened to move-in ready?
I also was not here
Oh,
at the
okay.
purchase.
Mr. Ring?
Yeah, I don't recall moving ready. We had a budget for enhancements. But the idea was it would cost a lot more to buy property and construct what's already out there. But we've had an additional budget for infill work since the beginning.
Okay, so the term move-in ready wasn't used?
No.
I'd have to. I hate to say it never was used because I can't recall
Okay.
everything exactly. But I know we've been talking about infill work with the project all along.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Councilman Goodson's in the queue.
Yeah. I just recall, we didn't mention or use that verbiage because we knew that there was some challenges with, it just needed to be tweaked. For example, bathrooms for, and
Staff.
okay, not gender, staff,
Yeah.
yes. Have to be careful with that.
Ultimately, after the purchase of the building, there was more analysis done on there's some work being done on the primary, where I think initially the mechanic shop was going to be in the back of the property. Now the mechanic shop's going to be in one of the larger areas. So there's going to be some work done in there and some walls put up. And then on the main office space, it was determined even more space was going to be needed. So there was a bathroom, a small addition, and some other infill work to make it suitable for the long haul for Public Works.
Right.
Vice Mayor Smith is in the queue.
Yeah, just to comment on Councilman Reynolds' reflection. So there was a lot of expression that there were a lot of elements to this building that required very little change to suit the needs of the city. And so certainly the feeling was given that there was a lot of this space that was ready to go in that conversation. But along with that, there were conversations. There were things that did need to be, changed to fully accommodate the city's needs moving forward. In fact, I think I mentioned, it always costs more than you see, and there's things you can't see. And are you sure, Mr. Mayo? And I think something to the extent of I can't guarantee, but we feel like we got a good handle on this, and that it's going to really be a great site to accommodate the future needs of the city growth. And a lot of emphasis was placed on the covered space to provide protection for some of our large equipment because of the UV and the damage that ensues from that. So that's kind of like my just recall. I think it's appropriate.
Good recall.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I think to add too, I know that there was as Administrator Rings suggested, their existing city shop that they used, we were hoping to be big enough for our, equipment shop purposes, but the discovery that the concrete slab there isn't thick enough to support the lifting equipment that we would have, so that's why it moved to the other big warehouse where the concrete slab is, and I just offer that as one example of all the little intricacies you got to follow up on. And the bigger warehouses got a lot more room for the city shop issues. The one thing I'll add is I know in phase 2, we talked about the potential of having, on-site fueling tanks and whatnot. I noticed that in our budget presentation, we've had to increase some costs for fuel costs. So, and I know we're using a different vendor for fueling. It's always been a good thing for the city to have its own fuel station and a savings in purchasing the quantity of fuel that we're talking about. I understand some of our departments have had to increase their fuel budget because we're buying it in a different vendor for right now. I realize it's difficult to mount relocate the existing fuel tank or get a new one. And I'm very cognizant of the fact that air pollution has a lot of the requirements for those fuel tanks. I've been at some of those meetings and heard some of the Vice Mayor Smith knows what I'm talking about. The requirements to have a separate fuel tank is a little bit over the edge as far as I'm concerned, but I would hope that we do that as a long-term possibility because that's going to save us along the, in the future, having our own, buying our fuel at the best price for bulk, that kind of thing. And because we're all going to be very busy, and I hope that we're able to find a way to have our own fueling station down there for all our city equipment, for all the fuels that we need.
And I'll say this, Mr. Mayor, after seeing the the things in the budget that
Yeah.
you're referring to. Actually, I scheduled a meeting, we're going to discuss our current status on Thursday. We have a meeting scheduled to talk about this very topic because I think the initial thoughts were we were going to get the courtyard a little bit quicker, so this was a Band-Aid solution because we're having
Right.
some issues with the kiosk at the existing fuel station, but we're meeting Thursday to reassess if we
Okay.
need to get those fixed. And then long-term, I think there's a lot of benefits to having our own fuel.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen it over the years, and I know, I've seen the cost increases that both the departments were coming up with. I go, oh, man, we may have a nice savings. So, any other questions on this item? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you all. Item number 9, approval of the contract for design of the Bedrock Park rehabilitation. There he is again.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is me again. This is the culmination of several rounds of discussion between the Parks Commission and yourselves, and going back and forth with Mountain Design Group for, again, a two-step approach for Bedrock Park. Phase 1 takes the design all the way through construction documents and estimate for Phase 1 items. Phase 2 takes it to the cost estimate and it stops short of construction documents. Simply because we can get, Phase 1 is the stuff that's needed now, and we can get that in place in a usable park, and then Phase 2 can come along later.
Council questions or comments? Oh, Councilman Goodson. Sorry.
I have, my comment is that the Mountain Design Group, for me, it's the perfect choice to revitalize this Bedrock Park. They're experts
They're the ones that
in
did.
regards to innovative ideas, and we all remember the devastation of Riverbend. And so with their design, it was a game changer, and just a real ray of hope for our community. So I believe that they're going to use the same energy and the same skill set to do a fabulous job.
Yeah, the same group that did the design for Hewitt Park is on this job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any more council questions? If not, do we have any comment cards on this? None?
We don't, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. I'd entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the contract for the design of the Bedrock Park, contract with Mountain Design Group.
Second?
Call the roll, please.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Item number 10, command staff structural change. Got to be the police chief.
It works fine, let's change it. No, just review, we've been about the 100-day mark since I've come on board and kind of taken a look at some of the direction that I could see in the past about the purpose for the assistant chief. It served its purpose well, but as far as for the continuity of operations and getting that succession planning, I think I found a little bit better way of doing it. And so, as we know, the former assistant chief, Mr. Darnell, has now stepped into the investigative lieutenant role and is really finding his rhythm. I don't see the need for a current assistant chief, but I do need another
Lieutenants.
administrative
A lieutenant,
personnel.
yeah.
So I'm requesting this change to put in another lieutenant to cover like the triad of investigations, operations, and then administration slash
Sure.
operation.
Thank you. Councilman Goodson in the queue?
No, I should not
Oh,
be.
you should not be.
I just removed myself.
Any council questions of the
Would you
chief?
remove me, please? Thank you.
Or comments? Any comment cards?
None submitted.
I would entertain a motion on this issue for item number 10.
So moved,
So
command
moved.
staff structural change.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Item number 11, conversion of 2 unfilled municipal law enforcement allocations to dispatch and records technician. Back to the chief again.
Again, looking at the evaluating the personnel that we have and where we're lacking, the municipal law enforcement position is an excellent program, serves the community well. It's also served as a pipeline for officers. However, we do have a lot, and historically, we have never even come close to filling those allotments. Conversely, we're only running 7 dispatchers where we really need 8 to make sure we have 2 per shift. We have currently shifts where 1 dispatcher's alone at night where it causes some issue, and I really need to get that 8th person in there. So by converting an MLE position to a dispatcher position alleviates that concern for partners in the dispatch realm. And again, in records, we're being inundated with Public Records Act. We're just nonstop with records. The digital era of submitting everything to the DA's office, really loading down our records division. So taking an unused MLE position, converting that to a records position. These are all costs or no salary costs really, and it's just a more efficient use of personnel.
Thank you, sir. Any questions of the chief? Any comment cards?
No, sir.
I'd entertain a motion for item number, is it 11?
I'll make a motion
Okay.
to approve all 3 requests.
A second. Wow, we're lax.
Call the roll, please.
Is that legal?
I don't know.
Made it legal, how's that?
Is that legal?
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you all. Item number 13, purchase a community, 12. Purchase and upfitting of 5 new police vehicles for police department. Again, chief.
So I softened you up with the things that didn't cost money.
Yeah.
So again, reevaluating, I've looked over the last few years of vehicle purchases, and it seems like a couple years ago, there was a massive requirement to purchase a lot of vehicles. So I kind of looked at where those vehicles went. Basically, it was to get rid of very old vehicles. We're still waiting for some of the new ones to get upfitted.
Okay.
We're basically down 9 vehicles that we need to be replaced over the next period of about a year. My immediate need is looking at these 5 vehicles. These are going to be more administrative vehicles. Typically, the agency has purchased basically full police packages, which are very expensive.
Yes.
I don't want to put money where we don't need it, so I'm looking at buying more conventional standard vehicles, fitting them with just what the requirement is, and it reduces the cost. For example, we previously purchased 5 patrol vehicles by themselves at $290,000. That was not including the upfitting, which is anywhere from $15,000 to $18,000. So here we were able to purchase or recommend purchasing and upfitting for, I believe I can do it for less, but based on the volatility of available items, I'm asking for a no more than $275,000 to purchase and upfit these vehicles for administrative purposes, and I think I can sneak it in for less.
Councilman Goodson has a question.
Yes, I recall that when Joe Deal was the chief and he tweaked the logo and the wording, the wrap. So would the wrap be the same, or would you consider changing that?
I haven't really spent much time. I look at the cars, they look nice to me.
Okay.
So I haven't really got into changing logos and that kind of stuff. If that's something that we want to consider, I'm not opposed to it. These vehicles here were not going to be marked.
They're unmarked, yeah.
These are
these are
administrative.
unmarked.
So
Oh,
I
fine.
forgot to add on the fact, even though I'm down 9, 5 will get me through the point where I am right now, and then I can start putting them onto the budget so that we can start budgeting on an annual review of purchase vehicles, so we don't have this knee-jerk, need to buy cars,
Okay.
need to buy cars. We're on
Okay,
a
sure.
system that's in place then. And so I think after this 5, we won't need to be coming to the board. It will be a budgeted item from this point forward. But these are not going to be marked.
Councilman Goodson, you weren't looking for pink vehicles, were you?
No, just the bling.
Councilman Reynolds is in the queue.
Yeah, I remember the vehicle thing too, and a lot of those vehicles are very old, and then we did go through the Lowell thing. But we also went through the electric vehicle thing, and I don't think there was much research done by that chief, and
that'll be
upon
scary.
receiving the vehicles, they found out they couldn't really chase down a moped.
That's,
So that was, Chief, I just want to give you my
it would only go
Just
Would it only go a couple of hundred miles?
commendament
It's
on
terrible.
doing your research, and I trust your judgment. I think you do a great job. Thank you.
All right, any other questions? And there, we don't have a comment card, do we, from public? Okay. I'd entertain a motion.
I move that we purchase and outfit 5 new police vehicles for police department.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. And we have item number 13, purchase a Community Connect SPI DR Suite Automated Notification Systems subscription. Chief, we just can't get away from you, man.
Just want to make sure you're still speaking to me right now. All right, so the Spider software, this is actually kind of a three-pronged software. The first one is when we take calls in for service, especially on busy days, it's very difficult to let people know where we're at. And sometimes these folks are just sitting waiting to find out when a response. So the first level of this is a Spider Suite is actually tied in with our RIM system to where it'll start giving them alerts about when the officers might be arriving. And it will give them updates. And what that does is, and they're predetermined. We can determine if it's a 5-minute or a 10-minute or what that message is. And so what that's going to do is alleviate the cause for them to call back, which then allows dispatch to pick up the phone and answer the call and distract them. The second part is it also gives updates. So if the case has moved along and the report has moved along, it gives the client, the customer, the citizens, an update about where that report is and whether it's been submitted to the district attorney's office. Can also give court updates for them. So they don't have to constantly ask for information. Our officers don't have to try to remember and put it on their calendar to notify these people. It's just a better way to communicate with the citizens.
Wow.
One of the most exciting parts about it, for me anyway, is it allows the community to also critique and review their officers. So after the officer's response, I know there's some, be careful what you ask for.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, I can't fix anything if I don't know. And so the best way is for people to be honest in their reviews. Yes, everybody might want to bash initially, but it can only make us better, right? And so having them be able to review either a 4-star or perfect or whatever rating we want to use, then we can use that for officer evaluations and the annual reviews or periodic reviews if we get something. It's a much quicker response that we can give the community when there's an issue that needs to be addressed. And then one of the last, not as many on, but one of the other major factors is people can sign up through the Spider software so that we can send out alerts, non-emergency alerts, road closures, there's an issue going on here, things that are non-emergency related, they can sign up and get and receive messages, invites to some meeting that we might be having. It's just another way to communicate at a lower level, voluntary only, and so just another way to communicate.
Yeah. I'm in the queue. I gotta say, it's kind of like if you, nowadays you call a plumber and the plumber will give you calls that I'm getting close to repair and getting on the way. And to me, it's a great use of technology to help people understand what's going on. And it's not like the phone company says they're gonna come fix your phone and say, be there between 2 and 4. You know, we're gonna show up for sure, but in between 2 and 4, you're waiting around for them to show up, so.
We won't be doing an 8 to 5, somewhere between 8 and 5.
Thank you.
Down on
Councilman Johnstone.
Yeah, I appreciate that too. I think that that's going to build more trust with the community too, so that they are not constantly having to wait, that they feel like their needs are being met, right? You know, an officer is expected to arrive in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it is. It's the lack of communication that I think is provides the negativity with our citizens, right? So I really, really, really like this idea.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, please don't, we're not trying to, and I appreciate that, I just want to make it, we're not trying to supplement personal contact with technology. Where we can become more
Yeah.
efficient, we want to.
Sure.
It gives us more time to have that personal contact.
Yeah,
Great idea.
absolutely. Thank you.
Any council questions?
No.
Any comment cards from the public?
No, sir.
None? Entertain a motion.
I move that we authorize the Community Connect subscription.
Subscription, excellent.
I'll second.
Call the roll, please.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, folks, we have reached the point of our second public communication hearing of non-agenda items. Do we have any new cards during the meeting?
No, we did not, sir.
All right. Council, any future agenda items they'd like to bring up?
Mr. Mayor, if I could bring something up?
Please.
I forgot during staff reports that I did the pre-construction meeting for Hewitt Park last week, getting ready to issue the notice to proceed, which means we're going to have a groundbreaking ceremony very soon.
Excellent.
And I will invite everybody up on the dais, Christy Riggs as well.
I was gonna say, let's make sure to invite her. Yeah.
A lot, and I'll advertise it so that we get a lot of community involvement.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Appreciate that update. Any other council future agenda items? I'll move forward to correspondence. Any correspondence received? Noted, we have the Business Assistance and Housing Development Monthly Report. A lot of things happening in this town. Appreciate that info, and do we have any other news to, no, not yet, okay. All right. That being said, we've reached the moment that the meeting will be adjourned. For the next regular meeting of the Oroville City Council will be held on May 6, 2025 at 4 p.m. It is now 6:01 and we are adjourned. Thank you, folks.
You got it good.